My name is Jennifer Welch, W-E-L-C-H.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Welch, you are the crime scene investigator that testified about arriving at Suburban Drive on December 11th and beginning the photography process, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury how long the Orange County Sheriff's Office crime scene personnel, as well as FBI evidence response team and other agency members, were at the scene on Suburban prior to its being released?
Yes. With it beginning on December 11th to the last day, we were there a total of 10 days.
Now, during that 10 days, it was your responsibility to photograph things as they were discovered or collected, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, how many people, just an estimate, how many people do you believe were there assisting?
I would say 50 or over. I'm not sure of the number.
Now, in order to try to document the collection process, what did you all set up out on Suburban Drive?
In order to document the process, we began with setting up a baseline. From the baseline, we then set up search lanes. And then later, during the period of being out there, we set up wooden stakes that helped to serve as a grid.
And as items were found within that grid or on the search lanes, would that item be flagged and then photographed by you prior to its collection?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury a little bit more about the environment where this was taking place? We saw the initial photographs of the wall of vegetation. Once you got past that, was that an open clearing? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as an area of dense vegetation. There were the hanging vines, there were trees, there were palmetto trunks. As we began searching and clearing the scene of the leaf litter, getting down into the actual surface, there was roots, and then going deeper, there were larger roots.
All right. Is this a situation where it's actually difficult to walk on the surface because of all of the roots of various sizes?
Yes, initially with the large amount of vegetation, it was difficult to walk around. As we began to clear and we started coming across the large trunks and large roots, then yes, it was still difficult.
Now, in order to assist in clearing the area, you all normally are provided with certain instruments. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. If I may show the witness what's introduced as 201 in evidence, Your Honor.
You may.
And since it's in evidence, may I publish during the testimony?
You may.
Do you see 201?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What are these items that are shown in this photograph?
It appears to be on the far left a machete, and then to the right, when viewing the photo, it looks to be sheaths.
The sheath for the machete?
Yes, the cover for the machete.
All right. Are those standard issued items for crime scene investigators with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, machete with the sheath is issued to crime scene investigators.
All right. When you were documenting this scene, was that something that was at the scene when you got there, or do these items belong to somebody with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
These items may belong to someone at the Orange County Sheriff's Office because while out on the scene, I don't recall seeing a machete already out on scene.
If I may have GX for identification. Ma'am, can you see GX for identification in front of you?
Yes, I can.
Is that photograph a fair and accurate representation of the surface of the scene after some clearing?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce GX for identification into evidence.
What says the defense?
No objections.
Be received in evidence the states numbered.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may publish.
Can you describe what we are seeing here for the members of the jury?
Yes, this is a photograph showing palmetto trunks that we were able to see after searching and doing some clearing. And in this photograph is also an evidence flag indicating an item of evidence.
Now, how much clearing has been done prior to when you took this photograph?
We would have cleared to the west of the baseline that we had set up, and this photograph is representing approximately clearing from the surface of 0 to 4 inches.
If I may have GY for identification. Do you see GY? Tell me when you do.
Yes, now I do.
All right. That evidence flag that we saw in GX, does that appear in GY?
Yes, it does.
All right. And what is it that that evidence flag is denoting?
The evidence flag is being utilized to indicate a bone that was located on scene.
All right. Can you annotate the screen with the location of this bone?
Yes.
Did you draw the attention of Dr. Schultz at some point to this bone?
I don't recall if I did or if the person who located had.
Okay. Did you ultimately collect that bone?
Yes, I did.
Did you endeavor to make some measurement of how far into the dirt or the surface that bone resided was?
Yes.
Okay. May I publish this?
You may.
Wait,
Wait.
is this a fair and accurate photograph of that
Yes,
you were
it
trying
is.
to depict? Your Honor, at this point in time, I would seek to introduce GY for identification into evidence and seek permission to publish.
No objections.
It will be received in evidence the states numbered.
274.
You may publish.
Thank you. Right. If I may have HA for identification. I'm sorry, HB. Ma'am, can you see HB?
Yes, I do.
Is that a photograph of the depth at which this item was found?
Yes, it is.
Right. Is that a fair and accurate representation of that depth?
Yes, it is.
Right. Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce HB for identification into evidence.
What says the defense?
No objections.
Be received in evidence the states numbered.
275.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may publish.
Right. And if I may have HF for identification. You collected that item, you said?
Yes, it did.
All right. Do you see HF on your screen?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the item that you collected from that location?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this point in time, I would seek to introduce HF for identification into evidence.
What? Be receiving evidence as states numbered.
276.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may publish.
In addition to photography, were you responsible for the documentation and collection of other items of evidence at the scene?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall, or do the records of the Orange County Sheriff reflect how many different items were documented and collected?
Yes. Actually, on the scene of Suburban Drive, I collected over 390 pieces of evidence.
All right. Did the majority of that consist of bottles and other types of trash?
Yes, it did.
All right. Does that number include pieces of black plastic bag that were scattered about the scene?
Yes, it does.
Did you collect a piece of duct tape that
Yes,
was
I-
at the scene?
Sorry, yes, I did.
Okay. Where was that in relationship to the main site where the skull was recovered?
That piece of duct tape was located near the area where the skull was collected to the southwest.
If I may have LB for identification.
You may.
Let me show you what's been marked as LB for identification, as I indicated. Tell me if this is something that you recognize that you've had contact with in the past.
Yes, I recognize.
How do you recognize it?
I recognize it by the label, and I recognize it by my initials on the evidence tape.
Is there an item inside the package that you recognize as well?
Yes, I do.
All right, and what do you recognize it to be?
I recognize it to be a piece of duct tape that was collected on the scene.
All right, Your Honor, at this point, I would seek to introduce LB for identification into evidence.
No objections.
It will be received in evidence as states numbered.
277.
And may we publish this item to the jury?
You may publish.
Okay, can you extract that from the bag and show the members of the jury? Are there markings on that piece of duct tape?
Yes, there are.
And what do they say?
The imprintations on the duct tape say,
Yes, just a second. You may proceed, ma'am.
the imprintations on the duct tape say Hinkle Consumer Adhesives, Avon, Ohio, 4401, max temp 200 degrees F, and that's all I can read.
Confirm that. Did you also collect on the scene plastic pink strips with words?
Yes, I did.
If I may have LC for identification.
You may.
Have you take a look at that and tell me if you recognize the packaging as something you've had contact with in the past?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize it to be?
I recognize this by my initials on the evidence tape, and I recognize this as I had placed in this in this brown paper bag, pink wording strip of packages and in.
There is another item inside the exterior packaging. Do you recognize that?
I don't recognize the brown paper bag.
All right, let me. Tell me if you recognize what's contained within the bag.
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those items to be?
I recognize them to be lettering that I had collected out on the scene.
You can hold that up here and let me see the exterior package. Your Honor, at this point in time, I would seek to introduce LC for identification into evidence.
Be received in evidence as states numbered
278.
Your Honor, may the witness publish the items in the package to the jury?
She may. Can't see it. It may be helpful if you put the document camera up and then have them placed on the document camera.
Yes, Your Honor. I may need a piece of paper.
You may want to zoom in a little bit. Okay.
Are those the pink plastic word items that you recovered from the scene?
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Ms. Welch. Your Honor, I have no further questions of the witness.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Ms. Welch.
Good morning.
Can I? May I publish what's in evidence as 201, Your Honor? States.
States Exhibit 201, you may publish.
Do you see that, Ms. Welch?
Yes, I do.
Do the ladies and gentlemen of the jury see that? Okay. This is a photograph of the street, correct?
It's a photograph of wooded area with a section of the street. That's correct.
Sorry. How far from the edge of the street to the first area where the weed line begins would you say that is?
I don't know. You would have to ask Supervisor Murdoch with the diagram.
Okay. Did you document in your report how far that is?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you recall approximately, and I'm not asking for an exact figure, but how many feet from the edge of the cement before you get into the woods?
Before I get into the woods or to the grass line?
To the, I guess, the weed area where there's more vegetation.
I would have to guess 10 feet,
Okay. And
possibly.
how far from the cement to where the skull was found, how far from the street, from the cement, was the skull found?
I would have to refer to a report that I brought with me, another CSI wrote up.
Please go ahead and refer to the report.
Okay. According to the report written by the other CSI who took the measurements, the skull was approximately 19 feet, 8 inches from south of Suburban Drive.
So, Your Honor, may I have the witness stand down to measure, to demonstrate for the jury how far that is?
You ready?
Can you please step down and use the edge of this grass area so all the members of the jury can see that. Now, you testified up to the main area was 10 feet, correct?
That was okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. So if you were standing or walking on the grassy area, this is how far away you would be from the skull.
For what you had asked about the actual vegetation, then yes.
Can everyone see it? Good.
Beautiful.
Now, the piece of duct tape that was just introduced into evidence, and I'm referring to State's Evidence 277. Where was this item found?
That piece of duct tape, again, was to the southwest of the area from which the skull was collected.
Okay. How far away?
I don't know. You would have to ask Mr. Murdoch with the diagram.
Okay. Do you have any reports or indication as to was it in area A?
No, it was not.
Okay. So is it your understanding that it was approximately 10 feet away?
I don't know. You would have to ask Mr. Murdoch.
Okay. But it certainly wasn't in the area where the bag and the skull was found.
That's correct.
And that duct tape appears to be the same make of, or the same kind of duct tape with the same insignia as the one found near the skull.
It had the same imprintations. That's correct.
No further questions.
Redirect?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
One more question. GY. May I publish GY, which is state's evidence? 274, Your Honor.
You may publish.
Can you see that, Ms. Welch?
Yes, I can.
Can the ladies and gentlemen of the jury see? Okay. These items here that I'm pointing, these items that I'm pointing out, do you know what they are?
Yes, they are stones.
Okay. And were they found throughout the area where the remains were found?
Yes, they were.
In fact, there were some that were very close to the remains, were they not?
I recall one that was close to the remains.
And they are like stone pavers?
I don't know what type of stone, but yes, it could be consistent with pavers.
Okay. I have no further questions, Judge.
Redirect, I'm sorry.
No, redirect.
Okay. May the witness be excused? Thank you, ma'am. You may be excused.
Thank you.